Hi, welcome to Oracle of the Divine Ophite. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thanks for joining me. And if you're returning, thanks for coming back. I have a collective message here today, and I've already pre-shuffled and pre-drawn so that I could meditate on the cards and get sort of an intuitive idea about the overall message. So I'm going to just start from where I left off in my meditation, and I'll let you know what the message is that I'm getting. So let's see what else comes through. Remember also, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Like this video if anything resonates with you. And this is a collective read, so it might not resonate for everyone. So as long as we understand that. But if it does resonate, or if you feel like this message might benefit someone else, please share the video as well. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm getting here is a very strong feminine energy. This doesn't mean that you're actually a female or a male, but the energy is very feminine. So this feminine energy had some sort of a wish, has made some sort of a wish, or has a wish or an outcome to a particular situation that's floating around in their mind right now. The message that I'm getting is that this wish has to do with some sort of a contract. It could be a marriage, it could be a relationship, an intimate relationship of some sort, or it could be a work relationship, any sort of a contract where two or more people have come together and decided that they're going to pursue something. So this feminine energy has a very particular outcome in mind for this particular contract. And the message that I'm getting is that wish, that particular wish, is not going to be granted, at least not in the way that this feminine energy was hoping for or expected it to be granted. So although this might seem initially like a negative outcome, the message I'm getting is that the reason that this particular wish is not going to be granted is because there's actually something better. There's some sort of a situation of massive success. And this feminine energy might be thinking at the moment that, oh gosh, everything's going wrong, and I'm just really stressed about this, and no matter what I do, things don't turn out the way I want them to turn out. And you know, there are all these extenuating circumstances that keep coming into play, preventing the fulfillment of this wish. But this is actually going to turn out in the end to be a good thing, as long as the feminine recognizes that perhaps the wish or the desire, the desired outcome, needs to be altered a bit. It needs to be reoriented, so to speak, or the point of view, the perspective on the wish needs a bit of reorientation. There is something waiting in the wings, and there's going to be a chain of events that will occur in the very near future. I'm getting here definitely within the next few weeks to a month, where, you know, this chain of events is going to lead to some sort of an epiphany or some sort of a light bulb moment for this feminine energy, where they're going to realize, like, oh, you know, why didn't I see that before? Why didn't I see I should be going that way instead of that way? Or I should be going about this in a different way. Oh, why didn't I do it that way? There's going to be some sort of like a chain of events that's going to lead to an inspiration, or some sort of an increase in knowledge when it comes to this particular situation. The other interesting thing I'm getting is that there's actually another energy that's kind of actively working against this wish fulfillment in some way, shape, or form. And the interesting thing, though, is that this other energy, they think they're working against the actual wish fulfillment, but what they're actually working against is kind of what I'll call the false wish fulfillment. So let me clear that up a little bit. We've already discussed how this feminine energy is on the wrong path to getting their actual wish fulfillment, and they don't realize it yet. So this other energy is kind of unconsciously working against this original wrong wish fulfillment. And by doing that, they're actually assisting this feminine energy to come to their actual wish fulfillment. So it's really interesting. It's a really interesting spiritual dynamic that's taking place. It's like someone is, this other energy is actually really afraid that if this feminine energy comes into their idea of this wish fulfillment in the way they want it, that it's some sort of a threat. It's a threat of sorts to this outside energy. This outside energy is scared, is actually really scared of what's going to change should this wish get fulfilled. So they're kind of subconsciously working against things and kind of almost sabotaging things in a way, but the sabotage is not entirely intentional, because this isn't a wicked person per se. This isn't a wicked energy that I'm sensing. This is a fearful energy. So this outside energy is trying to keep the status quo, so to speak, trying to keep things in line with their comfort zone or where they've always been comfortable. And this goes directly against this feminine energy's wish fulfillment for this situation. So the universe is making sure that this fearful person or energy that's working against this wish fulfillment is going to actually inadvertently help the wish to come true, but not only help it to come true, but help it to come true in the right way, like in the way that is actually destined for it to come true. And so while this feminine energy is thinking, oh my gosh, everything's going wrong and I don't know which path to take, I don't know why everything keeps going wrong, events are slowly culminating so that at the right moment, this feminine energy is going to realize, where they've been going wrong and what they need to do to correct their path and do things in the correct way to bring about what they actually want. So really, you're taken care of. Everything's going to go in your favor. Everything's going to work out fine. You just need to keep stumbling along for, a few more weeks, I'm getting. And within that time period, something is just going to really clear things up for you. If this is you, if this is someone advise them to keep on going, just keep on doing what they're doing, because things are going to eventually come around to where they want them to be. There's definitely a door opening up, and there's some advice coming from a friend, and this advice is actually going to lead to some type of material gain. So there's some friend or some acquaintance, somebody that this feminine energy knows this person relatively well. Maybe they don't normally think of this person as someone that gives advice or someone that they go to for guidance on particular issues, but there's going to be something that someone that this feminine energy knows very well this person's going to say something, probably within this time period over this next few weeks. And this thing that this person says is going to really be a good idea. Like they're just going to say something probably off the cuff that is just going to kind of go bing in this feminine energy's mind. And it's going to lead to some sort of material gain by acting on this person's advice. The advice might be intentional or it might be kind of inadvertent advice, but just listen really carefully over the next few weeks. If you feel like this resonates with you and you feel like this might be you, listen really carefully to what the people around you say, especially people that you consider to be friends or people that you consider to be kind of, trustworthy, or, maybe someone that you think of as, they're wise, they're a smart person, but, doesn't necessarily have to be someone that you always go to for advice. But, if you know someone that is just, you think they're a good person, you think they're pretty smart, listen really carefully to these people over the next few weeks, because someone's going to say something really important that's going to have a major impact on your life. Because I'm seeing here, there's a there's a big increase in material wealth. You've got, there's two cards here that are showing opportunities for abundance or material growth to come in. So really, really important. And going back to this other energy that's been kind of working against the wish fulfillment, this person, like I said, they're in fear. They're operating out of fear. So they're in a bit of a delusional state, because when you operate from a place of fear, your mind just goes down all sorts of paths, and they're all the wrong path. It's almost impossible to come up with the correct strategy or the correct way to deal with things when you're operating out of fear. And this person is really, really in fear right now. I'm getting a very masculine energy from this person. I'm also getting a dark energy. This could mean that the person has dark hair, dark eyes, dark complexion, or it could be that maybe they're not dark at all in the sense of how they look, but they just have kind of a dark cloud around them. They have a dark energy surrounding them, which is most likely the thing that's contributing the most to their fearful state. They always feel like they're in the dark. I'm just getting the word dark. So they're looking at what this feminine energy is doing and saying, and how this person is behaving, and they're not used to it. It's a little bit different than what they're used to seeing from this person, because this person has recently made a big change within themselves. They've recently come out of a dark state themselves, and so they're a little bit unfamiliar in their spiritual characteristics and how they're treating day-to-day life. So this dark energy, this dark masculine presence is a bit worried about where things are going to go in the future. They're not quite sure what their place is going to be in the new grand scheme of things, especially if this feminine energy gets the wish fulfillment, gets their wish granted. And by the way, this wish has something to do with this feminine energy's own self-sufficiency, self-confidence, growth, spiritual and material growth, independence, ability to be the captain on the ship of their own life. Like, this person has really big dreams and expectations for themselves for the near future, and they have been acting on them, and they've been really pushing forward despite the obstacles. So this other energy is really, for some reason, not liking that. Although, normally you would think that someone would, like, if you were in a relationship with someone, a friend, a spouse, a lover, you would think that the other person would actually be happy and be excited to see you pushing forward. But in this particular case, this person is just in such a dark mental state all the time that they can't see the positive outcome. They only see negative outcomes. They only see loss. They only see the potential for them lose something. So it's almost like a competitiveness as well. It's like when someone else wins, they feel like they automatically lose. So I'm kind of getting the sense of like, this person has always seen themselves as being, the person that misses out on the win, or the person that just doesn't quite get the benefits of situations where, where other people have success. They feel like, they just actually are programmed to feel that someone else's success automatically feels or automatically means that someone else has to fail. There can never be a situation where two people win at the same time, or where there's a win-win situation for everybody involved in a situation. That they don't believe that can possibly exist. There always has to be a winner and a loser. So that dark state of mind is causing some really odd behavior, some really kind of subconsciously sabotaging behavior in this dark presence, dark masculine presence. I'm going to pull a couple more cards now so I can get a couple of additional messages and get some clarifications. Okay, let's get one more, please. Okay, let's see. All right, so we got 2 clarification cards. The first one, so we got the 8 of Cups. And then we got the Magician. So yeah, that's pretty clear to me. Success is going to come from changing the path slightly, walking away from a particular strategy that this feminine energy has been attempting, or this path that this feminine energy has been walking down needs a perhaps complete overhaul, but more than likely just a slight detour, possibly just a slight move in a different direction, or just, trying a slightly different strategy or a different technique to make this wish fulfillment come true. And although at this particular moment in time, that detour might not be clear, but the Magician is indicating that success is coming. Success is there already. The energy's already there. So, keep a lookout, keep an ear out for this light bulb moment, for this advice, this thing that someone might say, or, you might just see it on a sign or in a commercial. You might be watching television and somebody says something in a commercial that just causes, like I said, bing, a light bulb moment. Really, really pay attention, be very aware, be very attentive over the next few weeks for ideas and inspirations that might lead to a slight change in the way something's being done that will ultimately lead to a fantastic success. There are so many cards in this reading that talk about opportunities and increase. We've got just so many opportunities, so many increases in material wealth. We've got the Magician. We've got success was also there. So there's just a lot of reason to be hopeful and celebrate and stay in a celebratory mood, stay in a positive mindset. just keep walking forward slowly and just really think about, those things that could be inspirations to do something slightly different, or maybe turn in a slightly different direction that will just cause an absolute explosion of success in what you're trying to do. And also, keep in mind that, if you're struggling or if things are a little bit difficult right now, things will not be this way. This is, all things are temporary. This too shall pass. When difficulties present themselves, these are just temporary states that show us where adjustments need to be made. When problems pop up, they're not actually problems. They're just indicators of a slight deficit in our strategy or the way we're approaching something or what we're doing. They're meant to be teachers. Problems are meant to be teachers. So, if you are having issues or problems right now and you're feeling a little bit worn down and you're feeling a little bit like, things could be easier, things should be going more smoothly because you're working hard, just keep in mind that, this too shall pass. Things will not always be this way. I'm going to pull one more card for just overall advice. Okay. And this is also some good advice as well, because this kind of ties into what I was saying about understanding that situations are quite often temporary, and that, sometimes we just go through temporary difficulties in order to show us the real and true path. This might be a time to let go of a bit of the control. If you've been feeling that things need to be tightened up or things need to be more controlled at this point, maybe there's been a little bit of maybe holding on to the reins a bit too tightly. And this next few weeks might be a time to work on getting back in the flow. The flow is very important when manifesting a creation. The flow state is, as a matter of fact, the most important part of manifesting and bringing a wish fulfillment into reality. If you are stressed and you are feeling, burned out, or feeling like you're constantly butting heads with various obstacles, and you feel like in order to gain control over the situation, you need to fight back harder, that's just the natural human inclination, is the feeling that we need to fight back harder if there's something like that going on. In this particular case, that's not necessarily true. In this particular case, there's more of a need to let go of control and get more into the energy and the feel of what's going on. Really, relax, take some time out to look at things from a distance, perhaps. Maybe take a day off and rest. Go for a nice walk, go to the beach if you live near one, go for a walk in a park, play with your pet, whatever you can do to step away a little bit from the stress and the obstacles and get a new perspective. And that might actually be the time that light bulb moment or that inspiration comes in and just changes the entire path and changes the entire way that you're looking at things in this particular moment. So don't get too caught up in control. And also, if you feel like maybe other people or other energies are interfering to a large extent as well, step away from that as well. Maybe, set some tighter boundaries in regard to allowing people to, interfere or contribute without being asked to contribute, which is something that some people are very good at. And just make sure that, you let people know, let the energies around you know that, this is something that you're doing for you and it's your thing. Let it be your thing. So I think I've told you everything you need to know for this particular message. So I hope that this resonated with someone out there, and I hope that it's helpful. Thank you once again for joining me. This is Oracle of the Divine Ophite, and remember to subscribe. Once again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Like this video. It helps this message get out to more people if you do so. And feel free to share it with others if you feel that it might be useful for them. I hope everybody has a lovely day, and just relax and get back in the flow. It's really important to be in the flow. And I will see you in the next read. Bye-bye.